What is up, Trent Denman?
Hey, how's it going, Ronnie?
You like that new intro?
I do. I
Isn't
like
that
it.
pretty cool, dude?
That works out good.
Trent Denman. Hopefully, some people will join us today, but if not, it's fine. They can watch it on a replay. Thanks for coming on the show,
It's
man.
good to see you, sir.
You too.
Yeah.
Fellow auto broker,
Yep.
owner of Elevations Coaching, right?
Elevation Performance Group. You bet.
Elevation Performance
Yeah.
Group. Trent is a long-term auto broker as well as a sales trainer, and we're really we're going to get some hard-earned knowledge today from Trent because he's gone through it all and he is an experienced in it and working with other entrepreneurs like you on a daily basis. So, and he's giving this information away free today, guys. So, this is awesome. If you need to get in touch with him, we'll put his website up later. Let's do that. What is the website?
It's just TrentDenman.com.
Wow, cool.
Yep.
So we will put that up later. Bam, just like that.
TrentDenman.com. You bet.
So people later on, if they want to reach out and get some sales training or connect with you, they'll be able to get all that data.
Absolutely.
So today we're going to have you walk us through some question and answer about how you started as an entrepreneur, what your challenges were in business, and some success stories that you've had, as well as what are you going to do next? What are your next moves? Does that make sense?
That makes total sense.
Okay, great. So without further ado, for you guys, if you're tuning in live and you want to chat with us or you have questions for Trent, put it in the comments. We'll reach back out to you as soon as we can. But we're going to get this party started with, how did you get started in business, Mr. Denman?
Well, I'll tell you, it's an interesting story. So we sit at Academy and Union right now, and my sales career, for the most part, started right up the street at Liberty Toyota, right on North Academy. And it was kind of interesting. I had been in direct sales in my teens, and I drove by Liberty Toyota one day, and they were advertising that they were looking for auto salespeople.
Yeah.
I was like, I really like cars. And I thought that would be a fascinating job. So I went in and applied and got the job. And I found out that there were certain things that I absolutely loved about it and a lot of things that I didn't like about it. So long story short, with a lot of bouncing around different dealerships, I was at Liberty 3 separate times, sold Lamborghinis, sold Lincolns, sold Lexuses. I ended up deciding to get out of the auto business entirely.
What year was that?
It was 2009.
So how many years did you put in before that?
I started in 2003.
So like 6 years of working on, is this going to work out or not?
Yep.
And then you got out and went to, all right, now we're up to speed, 6 years.
Yep.
And then you got out to do?
I got into banking. And so right around that time, I had met my wife and we got married in the summer of 2009.
Okay.
And I thought, well, I need really something that's easy. I need a job that's just going to pay me a salary that is stable, that I can just really enjoy and not worry about. Yeah. And so I thought that the corporate area was going to be the path for me. And so long story short, in that regard, 2 years after I started there, Wells Fargo had bought Wachovia, and through a few other circumstances that happened, I basically lost my job there. And so I think the impetus for me to get back into the car business was I was all over the place looking for jobs, and I just couldn't find one. I was looking for another comfortable job, and I just was running out of options. And I kept telling my wife, being an auto broker is the last thing. It's the worst case scenario. And then as I started going down the list, the worst case scenario kept rising on the list.
Wow.
And matter of fact, on my way out of the bank, my district manager sat down and she said, well, I certainly wish you the best, but I don't know if you have a future in sales because you're pretty awful at it.
Did you hear that, guys? The district manager of the bank said, I don't know if you've got what it takes to be good in sales.
Mm-hmm.
And how'd that make you feel?
It chewed me up pretty badly. Because in the fall of 2010, my wife had lost her job because she couldn't start the school year as a teacher, and we had our first son. He was born in August. He just turned 13.
Nice.
And so she had lost her job. So now I had to replace two incomes. And so we had bought a house, we had had a son, then my wife lost her job in the fall of 2010. And then as I was going through my options in November, December, my performance improvement plan was getting close to expiring in May of 2011. And that's when I went into Bud Brown's desk, the founder of HM Brown, and I said, it looks like I'm living or dying right here. I'm burning the ships in the harbor. This is what I'm doing. This is what my life is going to be now. And I'm going to win or I'm going to lose, but I'm going to have to win because I don't have a choice.
So this was like, so they must have courted you for a little bit of time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I was talking to him for probably 2 or 3 months while I was
Mm-hmm.
going through my other options.
Right on, right on.
And when I didn't tell them, or I didn't realize that I was, that they were the worst case scenario, but
Yeah.
that's kind of where it ended up. But looking back in retrospect, that was actually the best thing that could have ever happened to me in my entire life, because I was sold out entirely. I had a why that was overwhelmingly definitional. There just was not a
You had a
choice.
why with names on it.
I had a why with names on it. And interesting story is, for the first few years that I was an auto broker, right above my phone, I had a picture of my district manager's car.
Really?
And every time I wanted to give up, which I wanted to give up a lot during that first couple of years,
Sure.
because it was hard. You've built a business, you understand. I mean, building a business is very difficult.
Yes.
It's not something for the faint of heart. And I would look at that picture and I remember it welled up feelings in me. Like every time her car would pull up, I would break out into cold sweats because I would think, is this the day that she's going to fire me?
Oh man.
And I just remembered looking at that picture, black and white, of that car in that parking lot. And I was just sitting here thinking, is she going to be right or am I?
Yeah.
And every time I'd look at that picture, I'd think about my wife and my son and our house and my mother-in-law, who at the time, wasn't really believing that I was going to be able to make good on my word, because up to that point, I had done okay, but I wasn't as disciplined as I probably should have been. And so it was one of those things where I would look at that picture and it just kept driving me. And every time I would go to a BNI one-to-one, every time I would go do all those kinds of things, anything related to the business as it pertained to like prospecting or anything that I had to do, I knew that I had to be passionate about it and continue. And in those early days, it was kind of interesting because I actually had a job at T-Mobile evenings and weekends selling cell phones. So I would go put in a hard 8 to 10 hours a day work at HM Brown. And then I would go hop in my car, changing my shirt on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, selling cell phones in the evenings and all day Saturday and all day Sunday, just trying to make sure that I could pay the bills and make it work while I was building the business. And
You did what it took.
Yep. I had to do whatever it took.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. I love that story, Trent. I've heard it before.
Yeah.
If you guys first hearing that, there's lots of people that the universe is a very powerful force. It's always testing you. Like, do you really want to do this, Trent? And it puts these people and things and circumstances in front of you that just bring up these challenges. And one of yours was an actual human being that was like, you can't make it in sales. My story is very similar. There was a person that was telling me only 5% of the entire country can make it in sales. You should just stay here and do this job instead of going into the car business. I remember that in 93, so you had the same thing, right? I found that funny.
Yeah. Yep.
Nothing positive to say at all. Just like, yes, nope, you're not going to make it.
That's right. And it's, and you know what though, looking back on it, I'm so glad that happened.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
Because if I would have had my way and been able to not go into the worst case scenario, I'd probably still be at a menial job, making money. My wife would still be working. We'd be getting by paycheck to paycheck. And really the key there was, I built such a prolific sales career that my wife never had to go back to work. And, she was able to, be home with our kids. And now we've got three wonderful sons and a beautiful daughter that's 5 months old. And it's just watching where it happened. It was kind of like I grew up about 15 years in about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
When all that happened, I had to be dedicated and just do whatever it took.
That pressure turns things into diamonds.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, cool. Now we know how you got to start, guys. Let's go into one of the questions I like to ask. How do you conquer your challenges? Oops, not that one. Yeah. How do you conquer your challenges to succeed to success? Do you have a system that you use when you come up against that brick wall or that person that's stopping you or whatever it is that you use to dig into and go, okay, here's how we're going to tackle it?
Well, it depends on where I'm at. In my early career, it was really that picture, that visualization of what that really meant, what was at stake. I had to do whatever it took. Now, having built an encore career as a sales coach and a sales trainer, go, going out and addressing many audiences about sales and how to overcome fears and how to help my clients through those things and really help them to prolifically build their business. It's one of those things where the motivation is very different. And so for me, when I talk about conquering my challenges to achieve success, I think right now I look at it from more of a perspective of trying to figure out ways to stay hungry and really think about my family and the legacy that I want to create, because I've got, the means to achieve a lot of my dreams, and I already have done a lot of that. And so it's harder to stay hungry when you're full. And so I've had to go back and really dig forward, dig down deeper and find out, what kind of legacy do I want to leave? What kind of opportunities do I want to help create for my clients and for my family, and really what kind of memories do I want to make with them? And that, I think, really motivates me a lot more. When I see that busy business owner that is overwhelmed and that's not sure where the next sale is going to come from, or they're too busy and they feel like they're chained to their desk, being able to see them go out and experience their kids' field trip, or be able to take some time off, or be able to really start to see the wheels turn on how they're going to be able to scale and succeed to a new degree in their business. Those are really the things that help me conquer the challenges, because going out there and trying to build businesses is it takes work. And I have to be thinking about, in the beginning, I thought about, okay, what do I need to do to eat? And now I'm thinking about, what is that client going to not have available if I don't help them? And so when I go out there and I really proactively prospect and try and help clients, that's really what I'm focused on, is how can I help this person get further and really develop? Because, that for me just made such a difference in my life.
Yeah, that's good to hear. I mean, I think that's a great way of looking at it, as well as you're helping others. And that helps you get through your problems as well, huh?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So the next question we have on the docket is, what do you most love about being an entrepreneur? I love this question, guys, because it's different for everybody.
Yeah.
It's different for everybody. So what is it for you, Mr. Denman? What do you love the most about being an entrepreneur?
Well, the thing that I will say is, when I was at the bank, I was the most comfortable that I had ever been in my life, including today. I'm successful, but there's always that tick in the back of your mind about generating business today.
Yeah.
And those kinds of things. And being with you being the owner or the founder or the manager, you're the one that everything rises and falls on for the most part. So the thing that was helpful back then was it was very comfortable. But the challenge is that comfort comes at a very steep price. Lions at the zoo are pretty comfortable. They're taken care of, and they're caged.
Yeah.
There are strict limitations as to what they can do and what they can't do. And
That's
so
true.
for me, the converse of that, being an entrepreneur, is I just remember one of the greatest moments of my life and one of the greatest moments of recent history was in November. I walked into my son's room at 5:30 in the morning. I was getting ready for work, and he was sitting on his bed, fully dressed, and he was just sitting there in silence in his room. And I'm like, "Hey, buddy, come here." And I said, "Is everything okay? Why are you up?" He says, "Well, Dad, I'm just so excited that you're going to be at my field trip tomorrow. You're going to be the only dad there."
Wow.
And I was sitting here thinking, I don't do a lot of stuff right. I have totally made all the mistakes in the book, but it just felt powerful for me that I was able to, as an entrepreneur on some idle Thursday, I was able to go be with my son in Denver at his field trip.
That's a good one. I mean, time,
Yeah. Well, and
being
I
in more control of
remember,
it.
we went through the whole day and he had a smile on his face the whole day. And I'll never forget when we walked outside of the thing. It was like a junior achievement type deal
Mhm.
where he went up to Denver and they had international town and they rode up on the bus separate. It was just fine. I met him in Denver, but I'll never forget right before he stepped on the bus, he looked back and he smiled. And
Yeah.
just that feeling of, you were totally here for me, Dad.
Yeah.
And I get emotional when I think about that because it's like that is an experience and that is something that money can't buy.
You can always make more money.
You can always make more money, but you can't do that. So, what do I love most about being an entrepreneur? It's stuff like that, just being able to have the freedom and autonomy to be able to go out and just do stuff. I see you at the lake. I love that.
Yeah.
It's like Ronnie's at the lake on a Friday. If Ronnie had a job, Ronnie'd be in the office in the cube on Friday.
I'd be secure.
You'd be secure. It'd feel really comfortable.
Let's say the most people with the most security in the country are in maximum security prison.
That's right.
But yeah, I mean, it comes
Yeah.
at a price. I that is my favorite as well,
Yeah.
is being in control that time. I always look back like I have never spent enough time with the kids. I've missed
Mhm.
their whole childhood. Then I go back through the pictures and I'm like, oh, I was there for this, or we went to Disney. I've forgotten that we went to Legoland on two sides of the country like 4 times. Like
Yep.
I never would have been able to do that with a job. So I'm glad that you've got some of the same stuff to share. That's really cool, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, guys, if you're looking to be an entrepreneur or get trained by Trent to go into sales so that you can carve out more time, this is a guy I'd highly recommend you do that with so you can take charge of more of your time. So, yeah, I like that answer. All right. This is a fun question. Tell us your favorite sales career success story. Like, it doesn't have to be the car business. It can be,
Yeah.
or maybe it's your sales business now. But what stands out in your mind is something that's successful that you want to share with like one of your clients, or
Yeah.
it never would have happened if you weren't building this stuff by yourself.
Well, I think for me, it would have been March 31st of 2013. I remember that like it was yesterday. Our second bonus level at the time in the company was 11 cars. And I had sold 11 cars before, but selling 11 cars as a broker is different than selling it at a dealership
It's
because,
way different.
it's a significantly different ball game. So it would have been like probably a 30 car month at the dealership. Well, I remember that was a Saturday and we didn't label deals on Saturday. So I was at 10 cars and I'm
Yeah.
like, I got to get the 11th car. So I got the 11th car deal at 7 p.m. on Friday night.
Wow.
And I had my controller. I called her at home on her cell phone and I said, "You got to do this for me, please. Can you go in tomorrow and label this deal?" Which is unknown. This is not something that happens. It's unheard
Yeah.
of. She didn't label deals, but she knew how to. And I said, "Could you please do this for me?" And she said, "You know what? I'll be at the office tomorrow. I guess I can do it, but Bud will sign off on the deal and let you do it on Monday." And I said, "No, I want to do this because I want to hit this naturally. I
Yeah.
want to be able to get this deal."
Instead of somebody having to sign off, oh, we'll
Yeah,
give it to you, Trent.
that's right.
You wanted to complete it,
Yep,
hit the target, hit the goal.
absolutely.
Yeah, it feels
And
good.
and I remember she was in there on Saturday morning labeling that deal, and then on Saturday afternoon, my manager at the office. Back then, I didn't print my own paperwork. I had Doug do it. Ronnie knows Doug. He
Yeah,
went
Doug
way
is a
back
good
with
dude.
Doug. and just a great guy. He says, well, I tell you what, I'll come in on my day off to print your deal if you can get the controller to label it.
Oh,
So
wow.
he came in on his day off. I detailed the car myself.
Yeah.
Long story short, 3 p.m. that day, I sold and delivered the deal. And I called my dad in tears saying, man, I just had my best month of my entire career. I want you to go to Denver because I want to turn this in tonight.
Yeah.
And everybody at the office was off because, 5 p.m. at the brokerage office on Saturday, nobody's there.
Right.
And so I turned the deal in, and I just remember having that moment with my dad saying, I finally made it. And I can look back to my career, and that moment was really where my significant outbound prospecting slowed down and almost entirely stopped, other than me being in BNI, because I had developed momentum at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the singular part. And then because I did that, I feel that I was able to hit that 11 cars again in April, again, and 8 in May, which back then was just amazing. That was the most incredible 3 months of my entire career.
Wow.
And that's where everything really turned for me. And that was in 2013, after 2 years of just blood, sweat, and tears.
That's a good story. I like that. You look back on these moments in your life of like, you had been pushing so hard to get there, and then you finally had this breakthrough, and that just opened it up and you got momentum and you kept going. I mean, this is something about sales. It's very similar to sports. You keep working very hard, eventually you break through, and then you got to find ways to maintain it. And you've got to find ways to continuously perpetuate that motion, or it goes away. So like, that's so cool, man. I like that. So, all right. Now we got some chess to talk about, and this is I'm hoping you go into the sales business thing and not so much the car business, but hey, listen, me and Trent are in the same business. We're 2 buildings away from each other. We don't really find ourselves competing very much. We know we're direct competitors, but look, either you like me or you like him. It is what it is. Like, there's right. 700,000 people in this town. We can only sell X amount of cars a month. So pick whoever you choose and feel it. We've never been that vicious of competitors, so he's free to talk about whatever he wants. But this next one is, what are your next 5 business moves? I think that I try to put this out and cast a vision for my team. Sometimes it's monthly, sometimes it's quarterly, sometimes it's yearly. We have different goals we're reaching for, but I just think without that vision in mind, you can get lost just doing minutia and not get any forward momentum. So what are your next 5 business moves, if you have them? And if you'd like to share them with us today, that'd be great.
Yeah. So I think my first business move, and this comes out of a book by Patrick Bet-David called Your Five Next Moves. And it's
that book
actually right over there. And that is really a great book. And it's one of those things where I think my biggest focus right now is going back. And my first move is going to be really proactively creating memories with my family.
Creating memories.
As I become successful in business, it's time for me to make sure that I put them first. We came through a pretty tough patch of time there for a while, and I want to really be there for them. So that's my first move. My second move is going to be going back and really reinvigorating my network, because there's so many people that want to grow their business. And I feel that the 2 principal things that people struggle with that are in sales or on the business development side of a business are business development, which is creating new leads, creating new sales opportunities, and then being able to manage those and be able to be effective and productive. And that really is very simple, boiling it down. But there's a lot of salespeople, especially that I talk to, that really struggle around that, and don't have the confidence, or have some fear or some hang up that is preventing them from getting all the business that they really could. And being able to really go back and reinvigorate my network and make sure that I'm adding value and building them up, I think that's a really powerful next move.
I think you're right. I like that one a lot. I mean, that's important. We always forget the people that got you there, the people already loved you, that you already sold to.
Yep.
or your network who already believes in you. It's like, yeah, why not strengthen those ties?
Absolutely. And then my third business move is going to be going back and really making sure that I'm doing an analysis. I'm very analytical. And going back really to a lot of the people that have had an impact on me over the course of my career and really thanking them. I, th-
Gratitude.
I think that that gratitude piece for me is very powerful because sometimes it really humbles me when I think about some of the people who helped me in the beginning and where some of those relationships, even our relationship, I've known you for a long time, and we've kind of competed, on opposite sides of town, and then I moved right next to your office, and and all that kind of stuff. And I think that being grateful for where you came from, I think that that really makes a lot of difference, because when I look at my career, I'm so grateful to be where I'm at. So the fourth business move would be, I would say, just going into outbound prospecting.
You
Now I
want to go
haven't.
back into that.
Yep. So I haven't done that in over 10 years. I mean, everything in the automotive side of my business was inbound for the last little over a decade, 10 and a half years.
Hmm.
I outbound prospected my heart out for 2 years. And then aside from me not scaling properly, made three catastrophic mistakes there. I want to get back to that outbound prospecting, because I feel that a lot of my clients really would benefit if I was a little bit fresher in the field and really going out there and proactively having conversations with new people and really growing.
Yes, I feel you. You mean you're going to be an operator,
Hmm.
not only a guru teaching people, but an operator
Absolutely.
actually.
Yep.
There's nothing to me better than like, hey, Ronnie, I want you to do this, and I'm going to show you my results next week because I'm going to be doing it too. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean?
Yep.
Win, lose, or fail, like whatever.
Yeah.
Fail, win, lose, or learn, right? Like
Yeah.
win or learn, like period. So I love that one. That is
Hmm.
really good. Have you put a system together for that? Like you're ready to work a system that
Yep.
you're actively training people on?
Yeah. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Alex Hormozy, but
No.
he just did a amazing YouTube video. He launched a book called $100 Million Leads.
Hmm.
Now, a lot of that content, a lot of that use case is a little bit different than my application case, but I got a lot out of that book. I
Hmm.
mean, I felt that, here's a guy that does, just tens of millions of dollars a month in outbound sales. And it's like, it just was fascinating to me because I had never really looked at things from a outbound sales lens, because
Hmm.
I do inbound sales all the time. People call me and request to do business with me, and I feel that sales people that really become prolific, I call them invaluable salespeople. These are people in your organization that can generate business at will and are entirely capable of running an entire business based on inbound clientele. I feel that that is the best way to do it. And I feel that if you have the capability of drumming up new business that is from cold outreach instead of warm inbound outreach, it's cold outbound outreach.
Hmm.
I feel that that gives you a little bit more idiosyncrasy and a little bit more dexterity when it comes to being able to build and scale a business.
I think you're right. And, if I can add to it, I think that the inbound stuff is great. Both of us live
Yeah.
in the inbound world.
Hmm.
And what we're saying here is creating a warm referral network of people
Yep.
that constantly refer you or come back to buy from you again. What I have found, if I can share, is it's difficult to scale that from, let's just say, 1 million to 5 million. So
Hmm.
um, those numbers vary for each individual industry or business or whatnot. Um, so the word I've been trying to use is and. You should definitely continue to work on your inbound stuff.
Yeah.
Nobody's telling you to quit doing that.
Absolutely.
But have you thought about sprinkling a little outbound stuff in there? And I think that's
Yep.
what you're saying. Like you're going to continue to do everything you were doing. Am I
Hmm.
summarizing it properly?
That's
And then you're going to
exactly
get
right.
back out in the field and
Yep.
chop that time up. But
Yeah.
keep in mind, you still got to go have
Mhm.
time with that family. So,
Absolutely. Yeah, that's
that
right.
I think that's wonderful. I would like to talk to you in another like 3 months. Like, can be offline. Like, how's that going for you? What's going
Uh-huh.
on with you?
Yeah.
Because we think the same way. Like you need to do some outbound stuff. They're not the clients we normally work with, but you know what?
Mhm.
Some of them you can create and transform and change their lives. So I like that too. All right. What about number 5? Did you have 5?
Yep, I got a 5th,
What's this one?
and right before I get into the 5th,
Okay.
because that's gonna be a really powerful one. Um, I feel that the way to build a business long term is through 2 things: invitation and referral.
Yes.
So what I mean by that is a few months ago, I did a, sales workshop.
I was there.
You were there, yep, and so was Bonnie, and so was,
Marcus.
Marcus,
Yep.
and so I did a workshop, actually 2 of them, a year ago, and I only had 6 people total between both workshops show up, and
Yeah.
then I had a whole room full of people at this last one.
Yeah.
The difference there was I reached out to people and proactively, personally invited them to come.
Yeah. I got a text message.
You got a text
Yes,
message.
I did.
Absolutely. And so that is very important. And then obviously referral is part of that as well. So thing number 5, my 5th business move. And this is something that has become more radically apparent to me as I've spent time with John Maxwell, who's a prolific leadership author and communicator. Is I am going to proactively, significantly improve and continue to improve my speaking and communication abilities.
Speaking and communication abilities.
Teachers make money, communicators make fortunes.
Teachers make money, communicators make fortunes.
Yes.
Dude, like the communication, if anybody thinks they can't get better at that, you've probably lost the battle, right?
Hmm.
I think everybody should be open to that. Like,
Yeah.
I know I need help in communication, my tone,
Yep.
all the different things I'm working on, right? That's a powerful one.
Oh yeah.
That's something that, like you said, it was going to be powerful, but that's probably the most powerful thing on this whole board because it's not just in business;
Hmm.
it's with your kids, your family, everybody. Like being that master communicator is huge. You can
Yeah.
articulate everything in a lot better way instead of
Absolutely.
sounding like me,
Yeah.
like all the time, like a dad. It's not the best, guys. So I like that
Yeah.
one, dude. I like that one.
Well, with regard to John Maxwell, the part that always intrigued me when I met him back in 2003, the conference I was at said he charges $100,000 a day to speak. Now it's
Mhm.
up to like 135 or 140, depending on what you're doing. That's basically for a keynote for one day.
Yeah, yeah,
And so we got $135,000 an hour
yeah.
for a 1 hour keynote. And then at the time, I was sitting here thinking, man, that would take me years to make that. And so as obviously my career developed, the better at communication I've gotten, the more effectively I've been able to sell,
Yeah.
whether it's coaching or cars or whatever you're selling. If you're a professional communicator and you continue to work on that, you're going to be able to get through to people and you're going to be able to build your auto brokerage business or your, chiropractic
Mortgage
business or
business,
mortgage
real
business, real
estate,
estate business,
everything.
whatever business you're in. If you are really good at effectively making people aware of how you can help them, you're going to have all the business that you would ever need.
You're right. It's just learning. It's one of the core values of BNI. It's lifelong
Mhm.
learning. It's getting better. You're not going up against me and you aren't going up against each other. It's like I'm trying to become a better version of myself as an auto broker, dad, all of these things, husband, whatever. Got to be better. So like, um, if you can get that mentality, and communicator can be one of them,
Mhm.
then you can make more money very
Absolutely.
easily. You know,
Yeah. And by the way, when you succeed, I succeed.
yeah,
Because the way I've always looked at it, as we've competed against each other for many years,
yeah,
if Ronnie is giving auto brokerage a good name, I want you to sell 1,000,000 cars because that makes my job easier. Because when I get a referral or when I get somebody who's intrigued about it, there's plenty of business to go around. But the thing that really helps is when people give the industry a good name. And
Yeah.
so, I've always been excited for you to be successful because I'm going to be successful. And it's the same thing with coaches. I have a lot of friends that are coaches and trainers, and I want them to be successful because there's no shortage of people who really need to build their business more effectively and get more business. There's more business for whether it's cars or anything in 80918 zip code than we could ever serve.
Do you realize how much car business there is in this town every month?
Oh, thousands,
Just
thousands.
by the millions.
Yeah.
My guess is 200 million.
Oh, yeah.
Security services, what, 60 million, and 70.
Yeah.
We haven't even mentioned USAA or any of those guys. Every month in this town.
Yeah.
We're just trying to carve out a little bit.
Yeah.
I have something to leave with you too. Like Patrick Bet David, I'm not going to just steal it from him. I'll quote him. You need three things in order to be successful. You need a proven mentor,
Mhm.
a system to follow, and an industry that you can be successful in. Those three things. So you
Yeah.
pick an industry that's successful, and you look back
Sure.
on it. Like if you're picking life insurance,
Mhm.
most life insurance companies have lifespans that are now over 100 years. You look at like Mutual of Omaha, National Life Group, these types of companies. Like, okay, no matter how you feel about life insurance, it's a successful industry. It produces,
Absolutely.
the
Yeah.
financial services produces the most millionaires of any industry in the country for like
Yeah.
20 years running. It's like it's going to work out, right? So then all you need is a proven mentor, and you need to adopt sales. I got them wrong. It's adopt sales as a lifestyle,
Mm.
obtain a proven mentor,
Yep.
and make sure you pick an industry that is successful. Those are the three things.
Yeah.
Yeah, adopt sales as a form of life. And I'm not talking about, you're going to be on the phone all day, cold calling, and all of this stuff. People get the idea of being in sales it's intimidating, it's scary, it's terrifying. You're teaching sales now, and
Mhm.
you are what I call a proven mentor. So if you're coming, like I could see you coaching my team, like, okay,
Mhm.
great, we're going to have Trent here coaching every quarter, on, and basically you're a proven mentor in the broker industry, right? So like we could literally hire him to just coach auto broker stuff,
Mhm.
so we'll talk about that offline.
Yeah.
But
That's
as we grow our company
yeah.
here, we'll discuss that because it can duplicate a lot of my time. But
Mhm.
you've got to look at getting a proven mentor, guys. If you're out there looking for someone to follow, and you're looking to adopt sales as a lifestyle
Mhm.
because of all the freedoms and ability to earn that it gives you, then find yourself a proven mentor who has a track record of success in sales, and then pick an industry that you can verify as successful. And by the way, with all the AI and Bing and Google, all
Yeah.
you got to do is
That's
Google it, guys. If you go out there and Google, how is the copywriting industry right now? Should I get into this? And will this last me 10 years? I bet the AI will answer you, because it's going to be in trouble, right? It's like this is an industry that's going to have some issues. But, if you're getting into mortgages, they're not going anywhere. If you're getting
Nope.
into car sales, it's not going anywhere for a while. We still think it's got a 20-year span. Life insurance guys, I'm very envious of the life insurance guys. If I could go back 30 years, I don't tell many people this, but I'll tell the world this now. If I could go back 30 years ago and I knew what I know today, I probably would have gotten life insurance and built a 300-person team over the last
Yeah.
10, 30 years. I'd be, multi-millionaire,
Yeah.
as far as I can tell. So I love that you're a proven mentor in the coaching field. It's something that is very rare and it's unique and it's very powerful, so you need
Yeah.
to add that to your website.
Absolutely.
Proven mentor
Yes.
operator.
Yeah.
So anything else you want to add for people today? Oh yeah, let's bring up your website. So guys, should have had this up earlier. If you're looking to check out Trent or look at his sales training, we have trentdenman.com. Do not hesitate to go there.
Yeah.
And we've got a comment. Let's see. Anna Maria uh, didn't leave a comment, but listen, I love that you came on. I appreciate you giving
Yeah.
us the time today.
Absolutely.
We
Yeah.
are all rooting for you and cheering for you, and we're actually learning from you,
Mhm.
which is amazing. Like I love that I can learn from other brokers and other people to make myself a better version of myself than I was last year. So, anything else you want to leave
Absolutely.
people with?
No, I think the what you said there, that Patrick Bet David said about making sales a lifestyle. I think that really is very important because so many people have a perception of a salesperson as being somebody who is good at talking you into something you
Yeah.
otherwise wouldn't be normally doing.
Right. Yeah. Talking you
And
into it.
the
Yeah.
truth of the matter is, sales is service.
Yes.
And so, a salesperson, the way I look at it as a coach, the way I looked at it as an auto broker, is somebody has a problem. So if they were looking for a car, their problem was they need transportation and they don't want to have to go through the hassles
They don't
of
want to
the
do it on a
traditional
Saturday.
car buying
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
And so I found out how to take the stress out of car buying. Well, same thing with coaching. People don't know that they necessarily need a coach, but what happens is when they experience the process of coaching and they experience some of the training that goes along with that, and there's more of that happens and it just becomes a part of their life. I look at myself as a problem solver. If I meet a business owner, I meet a salesperson that is looking to advance their career and really be able to create some results, I look at it as, well, how can I help boost them, give them some tools, and help them work with the tools that they already have to be able to get them where they need to go? And that is, it's not me selling them anything.
Yeah.
It's me saying, I'm here to help. And here's a mode by which I can do that.
Yeah.
And then when people, I love this saying, I don't sell people anything, I help them buy.
Yeah.
Because that's really what I do.
Yeah.
People don't know that they need something. And maybe if you're effective as a salesperson, you can help uncover the need that they don't know that they have. But I never looked at it as being a used car salesman, which is what we are.
Yeah.
And I can use that everywhere because I was one. And so
Still
I am one. And so it's one of those things where I joke with people. I teach people and coach people on how to sell like a used car salesman. Well, a lot of people, they look at that and they're like, oh my gosh, what the heck? What do you mean by that?
They know it's powerful.
Yeah. I said, well, car salesmen in my world are highly respected members of the community that do a great job.
Yeah.
And really that it's tragic that the whole industry of sales is perceived differently. But it's one of those things where, as a salesperson that is successful, I really want people to see me as a problem solver. I have a problem. I'm going to go to Trent. He's going to help me diagnose it. And if he has a solution, he's going to offer that to me. And if I see value in it, I'm going to buy it.
Yeah.
There's not really a closer mentality. And that's another thing that's weird about the industry is there's a lot of emphasis on closing, and there's not that much emphasis on how do we lay the groundwork for being able to help them just say yes.
Yeah.
You don't need to be a big closer. You need to be someone who's good with people, who communicates what they do effectively, and who makes sales a part of your lifestyle.
Yes.
And so when I'm out among people, I'm not prospecting. I'm just out there among people. And if I identify a need, I just ask them a question like, would you like some help with that?
Yeah.
And if
like
they
that.
say yes, then I set up a consultation. We go from there. But at the end of the day, that really is what I feel sales is more legitimately what it is.
Helping people say yes.
Helping people say yes to something that benefits them, not me,
Not just
that benefits them.
I love it, Trent. Man, you've got some knowledge. I hope people are picking this up. Learning the car business is very difficult. We both know that. To be successful at it is another story. And then to parlay it into another career that you're building your own business with is amazing. So kudos, hats off to you, sir. Thanks for joining us today.
Absolutely. It was good to be here, Ronnie.
Yeah, buddy. All right. Well, we're going to do some more. And thank you guys for joining us. Share it with your friends. Hit the like button. And here's the outro. Have a great day, guys. Like that. Oh, we're still on.